Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, Gordon Brown, the British Prime Minister, has just announced he's going to step down. They are announcing all over the country that the government is going to stop fixing roads and sidewalks now. Everything will go on interest of bankers that have designed this financial implosion of the global economy. We have the Goldman Sachs emails. We know it's premeditated. I put out 2 films on this last year documenting everything that was going to unfold with Max Keiser and Webster Tarpley and many others. Fall the Republic and, of course, the Obama deception, explaining how they control both parties, where this parasite economy is going. First, it's $150 billion for Greece. Not for Greece, for the bankers. They've got to give up half their pension funds at least. Then it's $600 billion. Now it's $1 trillion. Now they're saying maybe it'll be more than $1 trillion. They won't say where the money's going. Merkel just lost most of her seats in Germany. And so the bankers are accelerating this before their governments are all thrown out. Nicholas Carzosi, all the rest of them. I can't even say his name. I'm so upset. It is just, what is happening is so big that I can hardly even articulate how incredible this is and how we've known they were going to do this and how this is just the next step with all these new VAT and carbon taxes meant to destroy the economy. LA Times last week reported, oh, we raised all these taxes in California. Tax receipts went down. Of course, they know it does that. Nicholas Carzosi, can't even say it today. Sarkozy. So with us is Max Keiser for the rest of the hour. I appreciate him coming on short notice with what's happening with the economy. And again, tensions simmer as Greece readies pension reform. This is out of the French news agency. And it says protesters rallied in Athens on Sunday as the government sought to rein in social tensions while pressing ahead with drastic austerity measures aimed at avoiding a debt default. That means more taxes, taking your 401ks, taking your pensions, and it announces it all here. But they've had all these secret bank conferences. They're not saying where this trillion's going. How does it tie into the financial terrorism of the market dropping 1,000 points last Thursday in 5 minutes? Max Keiser, inventor of the Hollywood Stock Exchange system, a successful broker, author, television host on BBC, Al Jazeera, RT, Press TV, the list goes on and on. He is now here with us to discuss all of this. Max Keiser, good to have you with us.
Good to be back, Alex Jones, and let's remember May 6th, 2010, a day that will live in infamy. This was the first unequivocal domestic financial attack in America. Financial terrorist attack, unequivocal, domestic, first of its kind in America.
Break down that. Break down who are the terrorists, how they did it.
Well, in Washington, there was a bill circulating to break up the too-big-to-fail banks. Of course, the banks don't want to break up their monopolies, so they used weapons of mass financial destruction. They destroyed 1,000 points, $1 trillion worth of equity on the market. When it looked like the coast was clear and Congress decided that they were not going to vote for anything that would break up the banks, then they allowed the markets to come back, and they rewarded the Congress people, who of course own a lot of stocks and bank stocks themselves. So they put a gun to the head of Congress and say, do we want to do what we want you to do, or we crash this market, we crash the country's net worth, we crash your net worth. Hank Paulson did it in the end in October of 2008, the same kind of thing. They crashed the market. They did it again. This was more obvious, though. This 1,000-point drop that only took 15 minutes. This was unequivocal. Now, this is quite remarkable. Basically, if you want to know the mechanics of it, I can walk you through it.
Yeah, let's walk through the mechanics of it. And then we have all these internal emails of Goldman Sachs where they're involved in other financial terror. We know this is their policy. We know Paulson went in and said there will be martial law if you don't give us these trillions of dollars. In October of 2008, when the Congress wouldn't do it, they went out on TV. The New York Fed head, the Fed chairman, the Treasury Secretary, all Goldman Sachs alumni, and they came out and they said, we are going to have a depression. And so they used fear to have the public pull out and drive it down. This time, and that's what the other experts are saying, this was not a fat finger. They admit this was not a mistake. This was insider using the plunge protection team to artificially drive down the market. Physical financial terrorism, not just using, bad-mouthing like the head of the Rothschilds did by claiming that Napoleon had won at Waterloo, which was a lie. That's similar to what happened in 2008. You're saying this was done physically in there. Let's go over the mechanics of this.
Right. So on the New York Stock Exchange, there are tens of millions, hundreds of millions of shares that trade daily, and 70% of that is conducted by computers. So computers are trading effectively with themselves back and forth over these computer networks. Now, for the most part, the trading is somewhat benign, but the key concept here to understand is that because 70% of it are computer-to-computer trading, the ability to what's called discover prices, the price discovery mechanism, can be pulled away from the floor of the exchange, and it can be recreated with the computers trading with themselves. So in other words, if you want to move the price of the stock up or down and you control 70% of the volume, you have the ability to nudge prices up or down by simply increasing the number of buys over sells that you're making from computer to computer. If you want the prices to go down, you increase the number of sells to buys from computer to computer. The cost is zero because the cost of borrowing money for Wall Street is zero. The cost of transacting is zero. And it doesn't cost them anything to engage in this. That's one of the reasons why interest rates are near zero, is because you have to be able to conduct this type of thing without having any cost. Now, the second step is when you get the price of a security like an S&P futures contract or an S&P security, which is based on the entire market. It's a proxy for the entire market. It's a price signal. And this price signal triggers a response from those hundreds of thousands of day traders out there who then do your dirty work for you. So when the price trigger is established, let's say you can move the price up 2 or 3%, and it pops up on everyone's Bloomberg machine, and every day trader in the world sees, oh my gosh, there's a 2% move. Suddenly the trend momentum players and these mom and poppers and these day traders glom in there with their day trade money, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So then they pick up the ball, they run with it, and they make these things, exaggerate them to these unbelievable extremes now. And so they outsource the manipulation to the day trader, effectively what it boils down to. And, of course, this gives them a great way to cover their tracks, because they can say, well, it wasn't us. It was those day traders out there. It was the market. It wasn't us. Meanwhile, once the deed is done, in this case, when Congress acquiesced, and they decided not to pursue anything to bail out the big banks, then they simply remove the sell orders. There's a price vacuum on the buy side. It triggers a price signal for the day traders then to come in to hide their tracks. The buying orders come in, and effectively they refill the piñata. That's what that rally was about at the end of the day Thursday, is refilling the piñata so that next week, if Congress decides to come again and say, you know what, we want to break you guys up, we want to attack, we want to get rid of high-frequency trading, they can just do the same thing over again. This is just now blatant. It's easy. It's costless. It's very effective.